Hi guys, like some of you know, there is a new update available for Photoshop 2020. If you have the cloud, chances are you have it already. So the first thing that people usually mention when they talk about these updates is the sky replacement tool. Like that's something new, but it's new in Photoshop. And personally, it's not my thing to replace skies in landscape photos. I do it occasionally, but, well, let's just look at it and see how it works. So here I have this photo of Seljalandsfoss, which is a waterfall in Iceland. And I go in Edit and Sky Replacement. I pick a sky from the drop down here. There are some skies that are come with it. And you can also upload your own sky. I'm just going to use this one. This is as good as any. And right off the bat, you know, it doesn't look bad, actually. And well, you know, the coloration between the ground and the sky is off. So here's like this color adjustment slider. If I just pull that up a little bit, it's better. And then you can adjust the brightness of the sky. You can shift the edge. The edge is actually decent. It's not, you can see a little thing here, but overall, I mean, I could try to shift the edge a little bit or fade the edge. But overall, it just works. But the best thing about this tool is, well, that it is in Photoshop. I did a review on Luminar the other, not that long ago. I compared it with the Adobe package, and you know, my conclusion was that Luminar was pretty good software, and especially for beginners or people that, you know, just wasn't gonna go knee deep into photo editing software like Photoshop, because it's a little complicated, you know. The learning curve is pretty steep. But right off the bat, I got this, and when I click OK, I have my output here just to new layers. It's masked out, and now I have the full power of Photoshop at my disposal, because this is not good enough. Even if this is, you know, would be for a beginner or somebody who is just you know, doing photography as a hobby, this might pass. You know, you could. I could maybe do like if I work a little bit more in this photo. It needs to be darker. You know, it's not dark enough. It's sunset. So it needs to be darker a little bit, like this, and maybe just for maybe give the waterfall a little more. Something like that. You know, for like 3 minutes work, this is not bad. But here's my thing. You know, I tend to call stuff like this digital art. Let's to separate it from landscape photography, because now this is beyond landscape photography. But I'm not basically going to talk about that. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. This is hardly art. You know, who's the artist? You, me, in this case. I combined two photos, and the algorithm, everything that was done, is done by some software engineers at Adobe. So I didn't do anything. This is not art. This is two photos combined. Art would be something like this. This is a composition. I added this Northern Lights to this photo. I replaced this guy manually, and there's so much more in this photo than just the sky replacement. There is like these clouds here, they are added, and the light is, there's a lot of work in this photo. In this photo, there's, you can just look at the difference of quality, This is something, straight out of the sky replacement tool, and this is what people make do with, but this is something that has some work. And if you're gonna go into the world of composition, sky replacement is easy. What I would say, which is good about this sky replacement in Photoshop, is the selection is pretty good. So this would make a really nice starting point for me to fix the rest. So like in this case, I spent a decent amount of time selecting the sky. Yeah. It's a little more complex selection, but not, it's not complicated. But to get these mountains and to get it right, it can take you a while, but here is a really good starting point. But the biggest thing about stuff like this is color balancing between photos, and even if I had both here and in Luminar, there's some sliders to somewhat match it. Give me a break. It doesn't. It's not good enough. It doesn't pass that out. Let's just say that. And if you want to practice the craft of composites, you should do something different than skies. Try to add animals into your photos, or do stuff like portraits and have a background and a portrait, like here and here. This is meaningful stuff. This is something. This took me time and this took me effort. These two portraits are a bit old, so I can see a few things that I would do differently today. I can see there's the area here at the helmet. Here's a little hot, but it's a great photo, and there's no problem with this. But sky replacement tool in Photoshop is a reality, and I'm thinking it will just get better from here. Another thing that is new in this update in Photoshop is skin smoothing tool, and that has also been around in Luminar for a while now. I'm not sure how long, but it is there, and it's pretty good in Luminar. It's it's for like quick results. It's pretty good, and this is also, again, what Photoshop has above Luminar is Photoshop. So you don't just have these gadgets that can save you a little bit of time. You also have the power of Photoshop to take you further. So, but the problem what I have with stuff like this, these skin softener in Photoshop, in Luminar, in Portrait Pro, or there's a lot of stuff out there. It looks fake. It looks plasticky. The skin looks too soft. It just looks weird. And even if they show some texture of the skin, it just looks weird. So then we have a more advanced tool like in Photoshop, like the frequency separator, which is really a really good tool and can get you really great results. But I see sometimes photos from that the face just looks like a winter tire. It's just so like sandpaper. It's just horrible, and so they overemphasize the skin texture. It just looks really weird. But if you find a way to be somewhere in the middle, you might be good. But like I said, this skin softener it has Photoshop behind it. So I can do a little bit, I can do like a quick thing, and then I can use Photoshop for more advanced stuff. And that is like the trump Photoshop is always going to have on stuff like Luminar and stuff. But there is more. There are some, for example, the cables here. I'm selecting now. Content aware fill just got a little smarter. It picks averages from you can. I'm not gonna teach you how to use this, but you can experiment with this here. I find the auto does really well, especially for simple stuff like that. And if I just press OK, I have absolutely no issues. There's no marks, there's no bruises, then there's nothing there. It just works really well right out of the box. So now I'm gonna go to filters and neural filters. This new filter set that Photoshop has, and I'm gonna click skin smoothing. And the blur is the texture of the skin. You know, if you blur the texture too much out, it's gonna be weird. And the smoothness is then the smoothness of the rest. But I can see here right off the bat, it does a pretty good job. But let me do one thing first. What I would always do when I'm dealing with stuff like that, I would always start with taking the big blemishes out. You know, here she is a little scarred in her face. So I would always start with this, because to spend a little time doing this, what that does, it enables me to use less of the softener. So I don't have to, remove those big blemishes with pushing the smoothener way up and making everything else look plasticky. So it's very important, fix the big stuff and then use stuff like this. And I would also change maybe to the stamp and maybe a little bit deal with the, not too much. It's really weird when people do this too much. Like this, something like that. This is, I'm doing this. Something like that. A little more. And here. There we go. So now let's see how the skin softener works. So I'm turning it on again, and I'm seeing, like, right off the bat, it looks pretty good. So I want to make it a little bigger. So let's reduce this a little bit. So now I got a little bit more texture. With reducing the blur, I got a little bit more texture, but I could maybe smooth it a little bit more. It depends a little bit on what you're doing. If you're doing like a fashion thingy, you might want to, you have some leverage with more smooth than just like if you're doing a family picture. I find it really weird when I see family pictures and everybody's face is like plastic, but but something like that. These are the only two sliders, so there's nothing much to talk about here. So I want the output to be on a new layer, and okay. So now I have a layer with the changes, so I can toggle off and on and see if it's working for me or not. I can also like reduce the opacity a little bit of the layer. And for example, if I feel like I can add a layer mask on the layer, and then I will just do a brush and maybe paint out where I wanted it to be sharp a little bit, because the softener took away a little bit of the facial features. So all in all, with like with the sky replacement tool, all in all, it's a 3-minute work. I'm somewhat satisfied with the result, and if I want more, I have the power of Photoshop behind it. It is really like for example, I did this the other day. This is my wife, and she has a dog channel on YouTube, so I needed a thumbnail for her channel. So I tried it there. I just took the photo because, you know, to be fair, what are you going to use it for? This photo. This is a thumbnail photo for YouTube. It's like this big or something, and you just slap a skin softener and do your thing, and everything looks good. It looked great. But if I was working for a magazine or a wedding or whatever, you know, I would put a little more work in it if it was going to be printed. But enough of that. So that's how it works. That's how the skin smoother here works. What is one of the coolest thing about the updates in Adobe Photoshop 2021 is the refine hair thingy. It's not new. It's been there for a while. It just got a little better. So here we are. Here we have the skin smoothed, and the background is kind of nice. It's you know, there's no cable anymore and stuff like that. But let's say I would like a cleaner background, because like I shot it on this wall here, and it's not, you know, perfect. So I just want to have a gradient, grayish background. Then I need to cut her off this background and put her on a new one. The only problem with that is I shot this photo at Aperture 2.8. So that is, it's when you have shallow depth of field, it is always difficult to select the far hair because it's blurry also. So it's sharp in the front, but it's blurry in the back. That's the whole point with doing a shallow depth of field. So my advice to you, if you're doing stuff like this and you think you might want to clean up the background afterwards, select something like that. Shoot at f9 or f11 or something. You can make sure everything is sharp. Don't shoot a shallow depth of field. But having said that, I'm just going to select her. Select and subject, where is that? Here we go. And the Photoshop does a pretty decent job selecting the subject, even if like the background is a little more busy than this. But then I click select and mask. So right off the bat, it just took away the background. I see some problems here in the hair, but there's nothing huge. What I would do in earlier version of Photoshop, I would select this brush here, and I would go around the edges here and refine the selection. Now I have this refine here, and it just does it. It does an amazing job. Now there are two modes: object aware and color aware. There was some explanation with these that the color aware would work better if there were more colors in the scene, the background was more busy or something like that, and object aware would work nicer in situations like this where you have a clean background. Now I experiment somewhat with it, and I feel like the result I'm getting is very, yeah. For example, now color aware looks much better. It has some problems, like here the neck. Let's see. make it a little bigger, and I would just fix the neck here a little bit, and here on the shoulder you can see the edge is a little hard. So if I check smart radius, and this is just stuff that was already available in earlier editions of Photoshop, I just tweak the edge a little bit. But the big thing was always the hair. You know, it was a difficult thing to deal with. So when I'm finished, I just press OK. I will output to layer mask and press OK. So here I have selected on a layer mask, and then I would just make a new clean layer behind, do a radial gradient or something, pick some gray colors, and voila. Clean background. So to see the difference is from where we started here. The cables, you know, we eliminated that, but well, it wasn't necessary. Then we took it a step further and cleaned up the whole, replaced the background. Skin is, you know, it's unretouched here, but then we, you know, even if this took me a while to show you how to do this, and it takes like 3 minutes to do it. Seriously, it's really, really fast. And the result of this is not perfect, but it's good enough for a lot of things. And like I said, we have the power of Photoshop. Everything is selected with masks, so it's non-destructive. You know, I can fix everything. I can improve everything, and that is what I like with these tools. Both this one and the sky replacement tool. It gives me a really, really good starting point. So then I need to do more, and that's just based on your expertise in Photoshop, how far you can take this. So here you can see a photo of yours truly, and I'm gonna show you with this. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here because this is fairly, let's call it, it's not very ready yet. It's, you know, the idea is good, and you can play with it. It's nice to play with it, but as a professional thing to sell, I don't think so. Well, let's just see. It's Smart Portrait. It has a lot of things. It has happiness, surprise, anger. You know, anger, that's something, would be something that suits me a little bit. Let's raise the anger a little bit here. So as you can see, it's, yeah, I'm more angry, but it looks completely stupid. So let's not do that. Let's make me an old respectful man here. Let's try that. Facial age. That should, well, yeah, this is, I mean, this is not bad actually. This is, you know, it's, I've seen worse, but that's me in about, well, I don't know, 20, let's say it's 23 years. Not bad at all. But this, I'm just gonna cancel this out. And there's also a feature here called Colorize. You know, you can, the idea is you can take a black and white photo and just by magic color it. You know, be a color photo. Just know the cosmos just knows the colors of this photo. So I'm gonna go here in filter, Node filters, and select Colorize, and it just does its thing. And as you can see, it's completely awful. You know, we have Asian Elvis here, and this, yeah, no, thank you. I just don't want to do this. There are some tweaks. You can select an area and change the color of that area, but the little time I put into it just was complete garbage. So not useful. Nice to play with, you know. It's and if nothing else, a great start. Let's just say that I have no doubt that in a few years it's just gonna be like you just have to click a button and then it's, you know, it's done. You retouch image, make beautiful, and I'm not looking forward to that, you know, because like I asked in the beginning with the sky replacement tool, to call stuff like this, if your only work is to replace the sky, to take two photos you took or one that you took and sky from somewhere else or whatever, if that's your only contribute to the editing, it's not art. It's merging two photos together. But that's an opinion. Everyone has one. Opinions are like assholes, I guess. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you take a look and experiment with it. If nothing else, it's fun. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.